address the elephant in the room. I'm the hottest person in the world.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business.
And everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure.
I am the Snow White now.
What do you do when the actress you just cast turns into a full-blown liability before filming even starts? If you're Netflix, apparently, you erase her. Rachel was allegedly tapped for a dark psychological thriller set to shoot this summer. Her team was already prepping a rebrand campaign. Think messy hair, serious lighting. Look, I'm not just a Disney girl type of marketing. But before they could make the announcement, insiders claim a memo leaked from her Snow White production. And it wasn't pretty. The document, reportedly circulated by a former assistant director, included a string of on-set incidents, verbal altercations with crew, constant script rewrites, and a pattern of undermining female staffers. One line even claimed she referred to the director as a micromanaging man-baby in front of the lighting team. The memo made its way to Netflix Legal, and within 48 hours, the entire casting was quietly restructured. Rachel's name? Gone. Scrubbed from internal call sheets, Slack threads, and press planning docs. The worst part? Her team didn't even know until they noticed a sudden stop in communication. No phone call, no formal release, just silence. According to one production insider, "We've had risky talent before, but she's the first we've cut pre-contract just to avoid a PR meltdown down the line." That's how radioactive she's become. And if Netflix isn't willing to take the gamble, who will? It was supposed to be her grand comeback. Rachel Zegler as Eva Peron in a reimagined West End production of Evita, bold, edgy, career-defining. But less than a month into rehearsals, she's already been temporarily suspended from the production. That's the term being floated around, but behind the scenes, it's more like a soft firing with no press release. Insiders say the tension started immediately. Rachel reportedly clashed with the choreographer during the first week, demanding the removal of an entire tango sequence because she found it narratively regressive. She also allegedly refused to hit certain vocal notes, insisting the original score was tone-deaf to modern feminist resonance. The real breaking point? A leaked rehearsal video where she appeared to roll her eyes while the director gave notes, then turned to a castmate and muttered, "He thinks this is his show." The clip didn't stay private for long. Within days, it circulated among the production crew, and by the following Monday, Rachel's name was absent from the call sheet. Officially, her team says she's taking time to focus on wellness, but sources say the producers have already begun contacting understudies to prepare for a full replacement. And if you think this won't go public, think again. One crew member claims The Guardian is already prepping an exposé, complete with testimonies from dancers who felt emotionally steamrolled by Zegler's behavior. We knew their dynamic was weird. Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler shared top billing on Snow White, but barely acknowledged each other in press. Now we know why. According to two podcast hosts who were off-air when the mics were still rolling, Rachel allegedly referred to Gal as Disney's PR Barbie and claimed she had to carry the film's emotional weight solo. That private clip never aired, but it definitely circulated. Gal's team reportedly caught wind, listened to the raw audio, and immediately cut contact. Within 24 hours, Gal blocked Rachel on Instagram and removed every behind-the-scenes pic that included her. It didn't help. A source close to Gal says she feels disrespected, embarrassed, and disgusted, especially after she vouched for Rachel during casting. The two haven't spoken since. Behind closed doors, Disney reportedly held an emergency meeting to keep things from turning into a full PR brawl. But it might be too late. Gal is rumored to be working on a Vanity Fair feature, and one staff writer says there's a full paragraph where she reflects on bad energy and unprofessional behavior from a co-star. Guess who? It was supposed to be a routine costume fitting. Instead, it turned into an audio nightmare that's now making its rounds in every Hollywood group chat. In the leaked clip, a voice alleged to be Rachel can be heard berating a wardrobe assistant over a corset that didn't match her creative vision. She reportedly says, "I am not wearing this colonial nonsense. I'm not your prop." The assistant, in a barely audible voice, tries to explain it's part of the approved design, but Rachel cuts her off. "You don't tell me what this character feels." The voice grows louder, heated. At one point, she allegedly threatens to walk off the production entirely. The clip ends with the sound of something heavy being thrown across the room. The assistant has since quit. The studio's internal review team has launched an investigation. Rachel's team has gone into lockdown mode, refusing to comment. But sources say the audio is real, and worse, it was recorded on a crew member's iPhone, which means it may end up fully public. One executive described the incident as career-ending if it leaks. When your own publicist publicly distances themselves from you, that's never a good sign. Rachel's longtime PR rep, who's worked with her since West Side Story, reportedly quit mid-campaign during her Evita press rollout. But she didn't just walk away quietly. She sent a mass email to select industry contacts, calling Rachel unmanageable, combative, and allergic to accountability. The email leaked, obviously. In it, she describes how Rachel routinely ignores strategic advice, picks public fights, and undermines every attempt at image control. One sentence stood out: she doesn't want PR, she wants to be right, even when she's catastrophically wrong. The publicist also alleged that Rachel personally vetoed a carefully crafted apology meant to address backlash from earlier Snow White interviews. When asked about the email, Rachel posted a single word on Threads: free. That's it. No clarification, no denial, no regret. Her team is now down to one freelance social media manager, and rumor has it they're considering pulling out entirely until 2026. One exec told Variety, "She's not just unrepresented, she's radioactive." It started as a harmless daytime promo appearance. Rachel was booked on Morning Brew Live to promote her reinvention with Evita. The host opened with standard fare, her thoughts on the role, how she connects to the music, etc. But when he gently brought up the Snow White controversy, Rachel's smile cracked. She reportedly said, "Are we really still on that?" Wow. Then things escalated. She interrupted the next question, said, "I'm done with this narrative," ripped off her mic, and walked off mid-segment on live TV. The host, visibly stunned, tried to pivot, but the clip went viral within hours. Twitter exploded. Memes flooded TikTok. One video even used the headline, "Zegler pulls a Kanye." But behind the scenes, chaos. Producers were furious. Advertisers pulled 2 scheduled sponsorships from the following week's lineup. And now, multiple outlets have blacklisted her from live interviews altogether. Even worse, the studio behind Evita is reportedly furious, since the show was mentioned multiple times on air. One insider claimed Rachel violated a press obligation clause and could be legally liable for sabotaging the appearance. Her team hasn't responded, but industry eyes are watching to see if she ever gets booked again. Rachel Zegler was set to become the new face of Luna Ray, a luxury sustainable fashion brand targeting Gen Z women. The deal was sealed, photo shoots were done, billboards were prepped, but just 3 days before launch, the company pulled everything, and I mean everything. The brand's entire spring rollout, which was designed around Rachel, was abruptly erased from all platforms. Why? Fan backlash. Fast, loud, and viral. According to sources close to the campaign, once teaser images leaked, the backlash was immediate. Within hours, Luna Ray's Instagram was flooded with comments like, "Why her?" and "Not buying if Zegler's in it." One comment alone got over 30,000 likes. Sustainable isn't enough if your face of the brand is insufferable. Ouch. Internally, Luna Ray's marketing execs panicked. A crisis meeting was held that same night, and by morning, the launch was postponed indefinitely. But here's the real tea. An employee leaked a Slack message from a top exec saying, "This association could cost us our Gen Z trust overnight." The brand issued a vague statement about shifting creative direction, but Rachel's team knew exactly what it meant. She was dropped. One fashion insider said this could be the beginning of a much bigger issue. Brands are now flagging her as a brand risk, something that makes them hesitate even mentioning her in mood boards. In influencer terms, she's lost the lifestyle crowd. And without that, what's left? A broken Broadway run and a half-buried film. In what might be the coldest move yet, Disney has reportedly pulled Rachel's likeness from upcoming Snow White merchandise, quietly and without informing her team. Insiders say Rachel was expecting a massive second wave of Snow White products ahead of its home release. Dolls, storybooks, posters, even Funko Pops. But when early drafts of the merch lineup hit licensing partners last week, she was completely absent. Gal Gadot's Evil Queen, still featured. Rachel's Snow White, erased. What makes this particularly brutal is that her contract allegedly included bonus royalties tied to merchandise sales, meaning her removal isn't just reputational, it's financial. A licensing agent claims the company made the decision based on audience reception data, a polite way of saying people don't want to buy what she's selling. Ouch. But here's where it gets messier. Rachel's team reportedly found out not through Disney, but from a toy collector forum where photos of the revised product line began circulating. She allegedly confronted Disney through her legal team, demanding an explanation, but got nothing more than a vague reply about creative restructuring. According to one Disney insider, this is part of a broader strategy: salvage the Snow White brand while distancing from the controversy. The same source hinted that future press releases won't even mention Rachel by name. That's not a career setback, that's brand amputation, and it's happening in plain sight. The industry is small, and when multiple actors start warning others behind the scenes to steer clear, you've officially entered exile territory. That's where Rachel is right now. According to sources in casting, 2 former co-stars from Snow White and West Side Story have quietly declined to join future projects when they learned Rachel was attached. One actor reportedly told their agent, "I've done the Rachel experience. Never again." Another flat out demanded a clause in their contract, stating they would not share press duties or scenes with her. These aren't background extras. These are known names with growing power. And when they speak, producers listen. The reason? It's not talent. Everyone agrees Rachel can sing, act, perform. The issue is her energy. One co-star described it as emotional warfare on set. Mood swings, arguments over nothing, repeated script challenges, and worst of all, public shaming in front of crew. Word travels fast, especially when you make everyone around you uncomfortable. A studio casting director even went so far as to tell a magazine, off the record, that Rachel's casting requires a risk mitigation plan. Think about that. Just hiring her now requires internal HR meetings. If that doesn't scream damage control, what does? Here's the part no one wants to say out loud, but everyone in Hollywood already knows. Rachel Zegler has been quietly blacklisted. No formal announcement, no press release, but she's vanished from every major studio's internal casting shortlists. The roles that used to have her in mind, gone. The directors that used to name drop her in meetings, not anymore. According to a source at a top talent agency, Rachel's interest score, a metric used to gauge casting buzz, plummeted to single digits this quarter. That's lower than actors with no major credits. One producer even joked, "We can't even put her in a cameo without triggering online backlash." It's brutal, but it's real. The final nail? A leaked studio email allegedly listed Rachel in a non-recommendation list, a confidential document shared between production houses warning about difficult or high-risk talent. It includes names of actors with unresolved legal issues, ongoing scandals, or repeat on-set complaints. Rachel's name was right there, bolded. This isn't a slump, this is a hard Hollywood freeze-out. And unless something radical happens, like a viral redemption story or a surprise Oscar-worthy role, she's out. Not trending, not discussed, not even mocked. Just replaced. quietly, efficiently, and permanently.